Thanks, Sarah. Now I'm here in the forest because everything I'm about to do can be done completely offline. I'm going to take a closer look at how Git works and how you can use it to view the history of a file. Specifically, I'll take a look at game.js, which contains the code from the Asteroids game you saw earlier. Since I had been using Git to keep track of changes while writing this code, I can navigate to the directory where the code is saved and type git log. What I get is every commit that's ever been made, starting with the most recent. Notice how each commit has an ID, an author, a date, and a message associated with it. For now, I want you to focus on the commit message and the ID. The message explains what has changed since the last commit. And the ID is sort of like a serial number. It uniquely identifies each commit and lets you refer to it. I'll scroll a bit by pressing the down arrow so you can see the commits with the changes we discussed earlier. This commit is where I switched the control keys to use space for movement instead of up arrow. This one is where I fixed the typo. And this one is where I reverted the controls back to the way they were before since I didn't like the new controls. Scrolling back up to see the more recent commits, you can see some commits by Doug doing things like making an iPad version of the game. And there's also a commit by me adding some color into the game to make it look more interesting. I can check what changes a commit introduced by using the git diff command. Git diff is similar to the fc or diff program you used earlier, but instead of just comparing two files, it can compare different versions of a file within Git. Right now, I'm going to use git diff to see the difference between these two commits. So first I'll copy the first commit ID that I want, and then I'll copy the second, and paste them both into my command here. When I hit enter, I see the changes made between the two commits. If you're using a Mac or Linux, this output looks very similar to the diff output earlier. All you need to notice in these lines is that we're comparing two versions of the file game.js. And here's the actual diff. You'll notice that Git supports the nice feature of colorized diffs. So the black lines didn't change, the red lines with the minus sign were removed, meaning they only existed in the first version, and the green lines with the plus sign were added, meaning they only existed in the second version. These changes should look familiar since they're the same changes you looked at before. Here's the typo you found.